guys, what's up? Welcome out to the channel today. We're gonna be outside working on the Model A and the flathead. The other day I went ahead and completely got it installed and try to kind of crank it over just to see what was gonna happen, and it didn't fire over. Has very minimal compression. Alright guys, so as you can see, I have it actually in here, and the setup is fairly sketchy, but it's okay. I don't even have it really tied into the motor mounts yet. All I was trying to do is pretty much see if it would chug over, maybe fire over quickly, and then get it turned off. But it's not doing anything. And I've checked the spark on all these using the inline spark detector. This guy right here, this one right here, we've gone through all 8 cylinders and checked all 8 cylinders, and we are getting spark in all the cylinders. So then we took this Harbor Freight compression tester and used it, and as you can see, the dial starts off as being bad. It's got incorrect reading on there. I can't fix that. This is how it came. Kind of sucks, but all my compression was like right at 60 psi. So I went to the auto store and picked up this one. I'm just renting this one, and guess what? Reading was the exact same. We had just below 60 psi, which means that something is actually wrong with the engine. It's got all new rings in there, and I lapped all the valves, but that doesn't mean that I did it correctly. So what I ended up doing today was going and getting a leak down, or a leak detection sensor, or what do you call it, a center leak down tester, and we're gonna work on that and see what happens with it. So basically, if when I put air into the spark plug hole, if it comes out the oil fill tube, that means I have a problem with the rings. If it comes out of the carburetor, I have a problem with the intake valve. If it comes out of the exhaust, guess what? I have a problem with the exhaust valve. So we're gonna go ahead and hook this up and see exactly what my issue is. And I think the rings are all right because I've replaced all those. I think those are gonna be okay. I think my main problem is probably gonna be the valves. I may not have lapped those good enough. So we're gonna find out today, and hopefully it's something simple that can be easily repaired or fixed. It takes a lot of time to go through all this stuff, but let's get it done. All right, so we got this box here, and this is gonna be the first time I'm ever doing this on a car. I never had to do this before. Even when I worked on cars way back when I was younger, never had to do this. So this is gonna be my first time at this, and I bought the more expensive one basically because it had a lot higher reviews, and I don't want to buy something twice like I have to worry about with this compression tester. And right off the bat, it feels like it's a decent quality tool. Feel to me a lot has to do with it. Like if something feels crappy, more than likely it is going to be crappy. Where in the world? I feel the hose. There it is. Come on, get out of there. There we go. We gotta make sure we don't drop it. That'd be horrible. It's too expensive to drop. Put the hose in the spark plug hole, and there are instructions on this, but I mean, it's very self-explanatory about what you have to do. And then one end gets hooked in here, and the other end will get hooked up to my air line. So I really wish this had a wire on it. That way I could like hang it on something, so I wouldn't have to worry about it dropping off. But maybe we'll deal with that a different day. All right guys, so we've hooked this up. I'm in here and it's hooked all up here. I've increased this to about 30 some psi or whatever. It doesn't really matter. It started leaking right away. This cylinder right here had 0 compression on it whenever I wanted to go test it, and as you can tell, I'm hoping you guys can hear. It is just blowing right through that exhaust valve right here. And I went ahead and even rotated the engine over. And as I'm rotating it, you can hear it start coming out of the carburetor. And then it stops going out of the carburetor, but it never stops coming out of this exhaust. So I know right now that I have to look at the exhaust valve on my number 3 cylinder. All right guys, so since this was my worst cylinder, this is the most concerned one I had. All the other ones need to be checked though, and just see if I can get better compression out of them. And so I'm just gonna go through all the different cylinders and checking to see where I've got leaks, see if I need to adjust anything. I just want to achieve the best amount of compression as possible. So this is going to be just a good general thing to do anyway, even though I was mainly concerned about that one cylinder. So I'm just gonna go ahead and go through all of these and see what I get. So I'm going to stop right here with just doing these 4 cylinders, because there's no point in doing the others. All these 4 cylinders seemed like it was leaking through the valves. This one, the number 4 cylinder, I thought I kind of heard a little bit of air coming out of the crankcase. So that's a little concerning, but maybe putting some oil on the rings and letting it sit there will kind of let them loosen up a little bit and form out to that cylinder. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to take all this back apart and try to get all these valves relapped. So I took the cover off and I can just barely see like maybe a little bit of a gap right here on the exhaust valve. I'm not exactly sure, but we're gonna go ahead and just relap all the valves anyway. This intake valve, it was bad to begin with, so we replaced that, but I didn't hear anything coming out of the carburetor whenever I was rotating the engine. But we're just gonna go ahead and try to relap all the valves, make sure that they're all good, and then we're gonna pop the cover back on and see if we can do something better with it. All right guys, so we're back and we're looking at our valve issue, and I think I have a slightly bent valve. If you can see right there, there is 2 different colors. On the left side is a little bit darker, and on the right side is lighter. That means that this side is not touching the valve seat where the right side is, as I was lapping it, and you can kind of see where it blends together, which means I think the valve is slightly bent. So time to find a new valve. Checked around at a couple stores, no one had it, and I have this broken exhaust valve from a different flathead, and I put this in there and just ran it around just to make sure that it was going to be the valve and not like the seat or anything. And I have a very consistent wear pattern on this, so this confirms that the valve is slightly bent, and I guess I'll have to be ordering one of those fairly soon to get this thing going. So I'll probably go ahead and pull all the other valves, just look over them again, relap them all, just to make sure that everything's sealed really good, and before I try to order anything, I can get one order done, and I have to order multiple times. So if I need other valves that aren't looking like they're lapped correctly, I can go ahead and get those ordered. But that is where we're at right now. All right, guys, so I got the all the valves on this left bank or right bank 1 through 4 all relapped. There's no valve in the exhaust valve for number 3 because I have to order one. But I was very curious to see if we still had a leak in here through the exhaust or the intake valve. And I've checked the 1, 2, and 4 cylinders, and none of those have leaks in the exhaust or intake valve anymore. I do hear air coming up through the crankcase, which means that air is getting by the piston rings, but I have not ran this engine whatsoever to get it heated up or anything like that. So I'm almost wondering if the rings haven't been seated yet or something like that. I'm not too sure. Like I said, this is my first like full-on big engine build, so some of the stuff I'm learning as I'm going, especially with these flatheads, because they are quite different. But I'll rotate it real quick and you guys can hear the exhaust. I'm right here on these 2 valves, and you can see that one is raising. You can hear the air escaping out of it, and it's going to close. Intake open. And then it shuts, and it's completely sounded off now. So got to work on the rings, got to figure out what the deal is with that. I'm hoping they just haven't been seated yet. Also did a compression test, and all of them are reading over 60 pounds now. I know that's still not enough, but like I said, I still have the piston rings that I need to work with. So that's all I got for you guys today. I still got to work on the other side of the engine, get all those lapped in. It's a lot of work. I've been running back and forth to a couple different stores trying to find an exhaust valve. Nobody carries the exhaust valve, which completely sucks. It is what it is, so I got to find it online. But that leak tester was a great purchase because I was able to figure out exactly what was going on. Found out my number 3, or my exhaust valve on my number 3 cylinder was bent. And I put in that broken part, and I can see that I'm getting a good circle on it, which means that the seat is okay, the valve is bad. Hope you guys enjoyed the video today. Hope you guys learned a little bit something, looking for different things. Leak detector, compression tester, all work hand in hand together. If you have bad compression, get the leak detector and figure out where it's coming from. Appreciate you guys watching. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Also hit that thumbs up button. If you guys have any questions, comments, leave them in the section down below. As always, thanks guys for watching. We'll see you guys later.